quickly given the time constraints. Our theme today is Pathways to India's Green Industrialization and what are India's imperatives. I know today speaking about green industrialization, given what we are hearing around the world, is a bit contradictory. But for India, just to give you context, India per capita consumption of energy is 27 gigajoules. And if India was to achieve its aspiration, which is 1/8 per capita consumption of the world, if India has to achieve its aspiration of growth by 2047 and increase the per capita income by 5 or 6 times, India's total energy consumption would be 370 billion gigajoules. India imports 40% of their energy, and because of that, for India, green energy is not only a necessity, but without it, I don't think we will be able to achieve our growth aspirations. And green energy leading to green hydrogen and leading to green manufacturing. We have a really outstanding panel, and I know we are running behind time. Therefore, I'll not make any further comments on this, but what I'll do is I will request some of our panelists to speak and then request our Honorable Chief Minister. Can I start with requesting Mr. Sajan Jindal, who, as we all know, is the chairman of JSW Steel. They're doing some seminal work on green steel, and also JSW Energy, where they're doing both renewable, pump hydro, and everything else. So, Sajanji, it would be great to share your insights in terms of what you're doing.
Thank you, Rajiv. Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Chandrababu Naidu Garu, my other panelist friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I know it's very early in the morning here in Davos. We Indians are not used to this kind of very early at 7 o'clock to start working, but in Europe, I guess it is quite standard. Talking about green energy, I think this is the buzzword. I mean, we are seeing the climate change that is happening globally because of overuse of fossil fuel, because the whole world is developing and the consumption, the population is growing globally, and the use of fossil fuel is increasing, whether it is in automobiles or whether it is power generation, power consumption. As we tend to become more affluent, we try to consume more energy, and therefore we burn more fossil fuel. So therefore, green energy is very important in all aspects of life. But I have a very strong belief that economics play the most important role. As long as we can make green energy economically viable, cheaper than the conventional energy, only then we will see the real use of green energy at mass scale. We can go on speaking about it, we can go on talking about it, dreaming about it, that the whole world will go fossil fuel free. It won't happen, because as long as the economics don't drive it. But the good news is that the technological development that is happening globally in any industry, that the renewable energy is becoming more and more economical, is becoming global scale, and technology development is happening, which is bringing the renewable energy, the green energy within the grasp of common man, which is becoming at par with the fossil fuel-based energy. So two things are happening. The fossil fuel-based energy costs are going up, and renewable energy costs are coming down. So, and that is true even in other industries. Now, we are now all talking about making molecules using green energy, whether green ammonia or green hydrogen. All those things are now taking shape, and as it gets scaled up, we will see more and more green energy being used in industries as well. In the mobility, the electric cars, electric trucks, electric buses are becoming the future, is becoming reality. We can see a lot more green electric cars happening, battery operated, as well as now the new one is the hydrogen operated. though I still believe hydrogen is some time away. There is a lot of development happening on the hydrogen front. But the battery side is really happening, and I'm very optimistic about the electric cars and the electric buses, which will be operated by the batteries. So I see a lot of a future for green. We at JSW are really taking this in a very big way, both in renewable energy. In our JSW Energy, we are building large green energy platform. Also in our electric mobility, we are taking large steps to build electric cars, electric trucks, electric buses. And finally, in our steel, which is our mainstay, we are setting up a experimental 4 million ton green steel plant in Maharashtra, which will use hydrogen as the feedstock and will be making green steel. So I'll stop here as we have a big panel which is going to deliberate on the green hydrogen, and Honorable Chief Minister, we would all like to hear his vision on the green energy for the state of Andhra Pradesh, as well as for the whole country and also for the whole world, because Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, as we all know, is a visionary. He's not only Chief Minister of the state, but he is the driver of the whole economy, whole country, as well as the whole world, because as we know, a lot of people from Andhra Pradesh is today driving the world's largest corporations. So I will stop here, and thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, Sajanji. I also must mention that since the Honorable Chief Minister is here, Andhra was the first one, and I must congratulate him, to set up the first green hydrogen hub in the country, and that's a big catalyst. Can I now request Hans, if you can make some quick remarks? Hans is the CEO of Yara Clean Ammonia, Norway.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Minister, dear guest. Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be part of you this morning. I would just like to present you Yara Clean Ammonia first. We are the largest carrier of ammonia today. We represent roughly 20% of every ton of ammonia which is transported in the world, just to give you an idea of our company. And we are represented around the world globally, and we are also present in India, where we have a plant producing urea and ammonia today. But grey. As you say, we are already implementing concrete measures to scale up, also in the renewable, in the low carbon area within ammonia. But what do we need to be successful in decarbonizing? First of all, we need actors willing to go with us in this. It's quite a risky from an entrepreneurial perspective. And we need actors to join us, because we cannot do it ourselves, and contribute with these unique competences and resources. And AM Green is one of our key partners to do this. And we are very happy to join up with AM Green to do that. Secondly, we need brave politicians, as we have here today, who can promote entrepreneurship and create stable and predictable framework. And most of all, we need incentives for low carbon products. This is really key, and this is probably the biggest hurdle today to scale up, and I'll come back to that. But before that, why India and why Andhra Pradesh? Well, first of all, you have competitive renewable energy. Secondly, you have decided that the green project can utilize the federal grid. And as we saw this, as we started this morning, you have plentiful availability of educated workforce, as the Global Leadership Center is showing. And that is also key, one of the keys for success. And another one is, as we live in a global world, the green ammonia also needs to be compliant. Notably, to be imported into Europe, it needs to be RFNBO compliant, and the state of Andhra Pradesh I'm certain they will provide this in the future. So, what is needed to be successful? As I said, collaborative efforts along the value chain. Within the production, we will do that with AM Green, because of the availability of renewable energy, as I said. And then it's also infrastructure is needed. Infrastructure is needed to bring this green ammonia, around the world. And in Yara Clean Ammonia, we already have an infrastructure. We have ships. As I said, we are the largest shipper today. But this is only the start, and we will continue building this infrastructure with partners in the value chain, being ports, being ship owners, and others. And we also need, as I said, a framework, a regulatory framework, and a certification. We need a worldwide standard for this clean ammonia. This is key to have a system which is fair and transparent. And then, most of all, very important, we need safety. The ammonia, we need a safe handling of the ammonia all along the value chain. I just want, if there's one thing you should remember today when you leave this, is the word demand. We need demand for low carbon products. If we don't have demand, we will not have business cases. And we are all here to make business. We cannot make a green transition with red numbers. So we need incentives, we need mechanisms to boost low carbon demand. And we also need flexibility and optionalities. And that's also something I would highlight when it comes to India. The flexibility is, for example, that you can use the green renewable energy when the ammonia prices at a certain stage is not competitive, then you can bring the energy back into the grid. That is a flexibility which is important. And another one is about using the hydropower so that you can pump it back and create a stable production for the electrolyzers, which is important. So that's some of the things I wanted to highlight. And I really want to thank you for inviting us and creating this opportunity for us to continue working together. And I'm really looking forward to continue the close relationship we have with AM Green and the Indians. And I'm looking forward to build together this future together with you. So thank you very much, everybody. And I wish you a very good WEF and a good conference.
Thank you so much, Hans. Thank you for your insightful comments. Thank you for your commitment to India and to Andhra. Thank you very much.